What's up, Pod Pals? It's your buddy Adam, and you are checking out Podcasting Business School. This is the show where I teach podcasters how to love their show like a hobby and build it like a business. And today we're doing a little podcast audit session. So if you're into some tips on podcast growth, podcast monetization, podcast audience engagement, you're in the right place. I've got my pod pal, Angela Abide from the Mission Manhood podcast. We are going to dive into her show, and I'm going to try to deliver like I do every Friday on the old podcast audit episode. So Angela, welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
All right. So we have chatted a few times. I've actually been on your show, Mission Manhood.
Yes.
So that's very helpful to me to have experienced that. And I think that there are definitely some things that we could do that'll help you out quite a bit. So
Great.
To kick this off, I want you to paint the picture for me. So let's say you and I are having this conversation 6 months from now. You're just crushing it with your business, with your downloads. What does that look like? What does that feel like to you? So everything's gone as planned and things are really humming along. Just kind of paint that picture for me so I can see what kind of goal we're trying to achieve here.
I just got a feeling of just peace and happiness, because wouldn't that be great if everything's humming right along? But I think that would mean for me, like growth, more people engaging with the content. And I've always really wanted to have more interaction. And I think I'm really good with answering questions and responding to people's needs, maybe because of my therapy background, but
Yep.
I want to incorporate that as a piece. And also, I think that would help establish me as an expert.
Yes. And I know exactly what you're feeling. I know exactly where you're at. When I launched my first show, Million Pound Mission, like I was really confident in my content, and I was irritated that not that many people were listening and nobody was engaging. I'm like, I could help so many people.
I can help you.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
that's all we want to do. Now, here's the good news. The fact that you're feeling that now and going through that now, it will help you when you get people in front of you.
Yeah.
Like that's where I'm at now. And it took me a long time to get here.
Mhm.
But when I show up in a different way. Nothing was given to me. I didn't have engagement. I had to work for every relationship, every comment, every like, every share, every question. I had to figure all that out. So when people do reach out via email and want to interact a little bit or show up for a live stream or whatever, like I show up for them. I don't take that for granted. Like, so you will be the same. And that's going to make you stand out because you've kind of earned your rank once you get there. Like, all right, now I've got the opportunity. I'm going to make the most of it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. And I think I've told you this before, but one reason I'm really drawn to you is because you're such a man of service. You really want to serve the people who are tuning in. And that's also what I want to do. I don't want to be one of these cheesy salespeople that's always just trying to pitch. I want them to really feel like they've been helped and feel good about what I'm offering.
Yeah. Okay. So the picture that you're painting for me is not just more listeners, but the right listeners and the engagement so they can actually build relationships and feel like there's a two-way conversation, not just you turning on your mic and recording content. So does that feel like that's accurate?
Yeah. Yes.
All right. So in your mind, what's the biggest thing holding you back from that? Like, obviously we want more people, but what's that thing that's holding you back from getting those people? Is it like lack of time, lack of marketing knowledge, trying to figure out what the best things for you to be doing? Let's kind of stir up a few ideas there, but what's that roadblock? Try to define that a little bit for me.
I think one of my messages or stories that I tell is I don't know how. And I'm going to be great one day with a team. I want a team, but then there's the financial piece. So then you have to solve that one first so that you can, get the team and get the help. So I think it's some limiting beliefs. And then, there's some truth to that too. I just don't know how. So when I think about growing my email list, then I know I have to do a freebie. And then I don't, like, what should that freebie look like? Or how do I even get it to the people? So some of it is just ignorance.
Okay. So confidence, that's something that we all struggle with.
Mhm.
The imposter syndrome, that's a common phrase that we hear out there in the podcasting space. Like,
Yeah.
do I really belong here? Should I even be trying? Is it worth the effort?
Yeah.
um, and we compare ourselves to other people. A lot of people get into podcasting because they have a favorite show and they can see themselves in that chair and they're like,
Mhm.
wow, I bet they're really making an impact, and they have all sorts of sponsors and all this cool stuff. And they kind of become these heroes in our mind's eye. So I definitely, again, I've walked the journey that you're walking right
Yeah.
now. So let's break this down a little bit. First things
Okay.
first, like, I feel like you're in a totally normal situation.
Mhm.
Your position in what I call the podcasting success timeline, like, it's very normal for where you're at, like with where you're at with your show, where you're at with your brand. You're building something from the ground up, and that's
Mhm.
hard. And that
Yeah.
takes a lot of reps, a lot of years, a lot of content, but you're doing it the right way. Now, part of my job here today is to make sure that we paint an accurate picture so that you have the confidence to keep going, because in the phase that you're at, which I call phase 2, the post-launch frustration zone,
Mhm.
the thought of potentially quitting, like, it lingers, like, it's there. Like, is the question, is this worth it? Do I need to change? Should I be doing this at all? Like, those types of thoughts pop up. So
Yeah.
the first thing I want to layer in there is you are not abnormal in your journey at all. So
Yeah.
you are exactly where I was, where I see most other podcasters. So just kind of take that to heart and be like, all right, I'm not abnormal. I'm not
Yeah.
like falling behind in any way, shape, or form. We're figuring it out.
Mm.
The second thing is, I want to give you confidence around your content. Like, I've been on your show and you do a great job with your content, with your interviews. Like, you
Thank you.
are putting good stuff out there. So that's, and I'll be honest with people, if the interview is terrible or something like that, and it's like, oh man, like, oh, I don't know, maybe this isn't worth it. Like, I would be honest with you because I don't want anybody wasting their time, but you're putting out good
Yeah.
stuff. And I
Thank
love your
you.
niche. I think it's unique that you are a female and you're focused on a male audience. I think that's cool. And like, there's a lot of really cool aspects about the way you're doing your show. So I love all that. So I feel like you've got a lot of the basics down. Now we just need to figure out, like, how do we get a little bit more organized with our marketing efforts so that the right people are finding it.
Yeah.
Is that, so I think,
It makes sense.
yeah. So we got to go low hanging fruit and build it block by block. So, because I
Mhm.
know, like you said, you get lost in all the things, like, oh, I got to have an email list. I've got to have a lead magnet. How do I make a lead magnet? What is the best lead magnet? And so I think first things first, we talk about what happens. We put an episode out there. How are we marketing that? And I'm a big fan of, let's look at the first 72 hours post episode
Mhm.
release, where I challenge all my people, like, let's get 5 marketing assets out there. And so let's maybe look at that. Like, what are you putting out? An episode goes live, what are you putting out there to tell people about it? Is it a Facebook post? Is it a LinkedIn thing? Are we
Mhm.
doing some lives? Like, what's going out there marketing asset wise?
Yeah, so my 2 main platforms are Instagram and TikTok, and I've just
Okay.
started TikTok,
Nice.
and, but I always put the cover with a little headliner video,
Okay.
that gives people a snippet of the guy's voice or whatever, or the woman's voice. But, then I always just put the cover, just a link to the podcast on LinkedIn and, Twitter, but I'm not really active on either one of those, just
Yeah.
to kinda keep it going. If somebody looked up, oh, and then I always post in the stories of Instagram on my Mission Manhood page and my personal page so that
Okay.
people know there's a new episode. Um, and then every day for a few days, I come up with some content based on whether it's a quote and then a caption that I've written, just telling what I liked about the guest and what they offered, or something like that. So I just try to keep the interest going for a few
Okay.
daes, but
Yeah.
that's
So I
it.
think what I'd really like to see you do is come up with a set strategy of, like, what day does your episode go live on?
Monday.
Monday. Okay.
Mon
So we're looking at
Mhm.
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Like, what do
Okay.
those 3 days look like? And then I want you to get into a routine, and we can do a little testing to see what's most effective on Instagram and TikTok, but like, what type of marketing assets are working? So like, for me, I would encourage you to explore a carousel post on Instagram, because those get more, um, more reach because it's kind of like
Mhm.
fishing with multiple lines in the water because there's 4 or 5 or 6 images and not just the one. So
Yeah.
people may see image 3 in their feed and they'll go back and be like, oh, that's tip 3. I want to see tip 1 and tip 2 now or
Oh,
whatever.
yeah.
So if you're already doing takeaways and things like that, like that's what I do with my initial marketing asset that goes out on Tuesday morning for my show is my top 4 takeaways. So and all you have to do, are you familiar with Canva, the app
Yes,
Canva? So
yes.
go on Canva and search Instagram carousel post,
Okay.
and they'll have templates set up to where you can switch the colors out so it's branded for you and then
Mhm.
swap pictures in. It's really easy. And so what I do is a 6 image carousel. Image 1, it basically has the episode title and it says my top 4 takeaways from episode blah blah blah. And then if
Okay.
you have your guest, you can put their guest picture right there, right next to it.
Mhm.
And then the next image is tip number or takeaway number 1, takeaway number 2, takeaway number 3, takeaway number 4. And the very last image is the call to action. Go and listen to episode blah blah blah, and then the guest image again. So it takes me just seconds to knock that out. Once you have the
Yeah.
template done, I'm not creating it over and over and over again. I've got
Right.
it and I'm just swapping pictures out and text. And like I just did this for 2 of my episodes and it took me about 10 minutes. No big deal. So that's something I would consider
Okay.
as one of your assets. And that would be an upgrade from a static image.
Yeah.
Like I don't even put like the traditional new podcast single image. Hey, it's brand new with a headshot. Like, I don't even do that anymore because I was
Yeah.
just getting so little engagement. But the carousel post that works. Then another way to do a carousel post is a tip based one. So I'll do a 3 tips. So maybe whatever the topic is, what are 3 tips that you would give people in line with that topic?
Okay.
And even if you interviewed a guest, like let's get that expert positioning in there. What are 3 things, 3 bits of advice that you would give people, or even just one,
Yeah.
So that is another carousel post that you could be doing there. I really like the idea. Are you recording video? Are you doing like video like what we're doing now?
No.
That's something to
I
consider.
know, I need
Something to
to.
consider, especially if you're on TikTok.
Yeah.
That's the deal on TikTok. So like right now we are recording in StreamYard.
Mhm.
And what I'll do with this is, the thing I like about StreamYard is it has all the branding all around it. I've got the image, the little thing across the bottom, and
Yeah.
it shows up nice on social media. And it makes me look a lot more fancy than I actually am. Like I set this
Mhm.
up once and it's easy. And, it dresses me up quite a bit.
Yeah.
So I'll take this and I'll put it in an app called Descript. And
Mhm.
then Descript is nice because it loads up the video and the text, but I can edit the video by editing the text. So why that's
Oh my gosh, that
so
would be so helpful.
so I'm just getting ready to do this. Like as soon as we're done, I got to make 3 videos. And so I'll load it up and all I do is look at the text and I'll make a little note. Like as we're going here, I'll make a little note, like, whatever the time it is. Like, so if I say something really cool, maybe I'll even make this the clip. So at 13 minutes and 13 seconds,
Yeah.
I'll make a little note so I can just go and find it.
Mhm.
And then I'll go, okay, here's the block of text where I said something smart or funny, and I'll make that my 60-second clip. And all you do is just erase above, erase below, little edits in between to take out the ums and the what if I say, if I stutter a little bit or stumble over my words, clean that up a little bit. Then we have a 60 up to a 60-second clip. Usually it's between 45 and 60 seconds because that fits Instagram Reels, that fits
Yeah.
TikTok, that fits all the different
Perfect.
platforms. And then I'll put a little thing above. So we have kind of like a rectangle image with our screen now.
Yes.
In Descript, I'll save a banner across the top. So I'll slide the video in there. There's a banner across the top that has my website. And then below, it's the same banner, but I can type in, the key point of the video or the,
Okay.
whatever, so like one sentence. So it's like how Adam edits videos or whatever I put in for this one. And that'll be on the bottom. And it's good to go. Good to go. Ready to rock. And you can mess with the format or the size of the video. So if you're going to make it lengthwise, like TikTok, vertical, or if you're going to make it rectangle, like YouTube, or square, like Instagram, you can mess with all that stuff right there in that app. So I would look at that. So asset wise, I would love to see you consider carousel posts, 1 or 2 carousel posts.
Mhm.
I like the quote idea. So maybe that's one that we do there. Headliner videos, that's a decent one as well. I want you to go live. I want you to test going live on Instagram. I know you can go live on TikTok also, but
Yeah.
Instagram Live is great, especially if that's one of your focus platforms, because you can pull guests in
Mhm.
and the push notification goes to their audience and your audience. That's unique to that platform where uh, so a push notification is basically when you see new people pop in on your live and you see people are
Mhm.
coming in and like, oh, there's, and that happens,
Yeah.
as far as I can tell, it happens about every 10 to 12 minutes that you're live. So you want to go live for at least 15 minutes with these people.
Okay.
So, within the first 2 minutes, you start to see people pop in. They're like, we're fetching people or whatever the little thing says at the bottom. And then at around minute 10, minute 12, you'll see more people flood in. If you go another 10 or 12 minutes, you'll see more people flood in.
Okay.
And the more comments, the more people hit the heart, any of that, that tells the algorithm activity is happening, something important, bring more people. And then
Mhm.
it'll do another push
More.
notification. Yes. But it does that to your followers and the person on the screen with you. And
Okay.
Instagram Live is so easy. It's all done within the app. You
Yeah.
don't have to do anything outside of that. It's very, very easy to do. But what I would do is like Monday or probably like Tuesday, midday or evening, go live, try to pull your guest on for that week. And I'll do this with you if you want to practice. Is
Yeah.
when my episode goes live, let's do this.
Yeah.
And that way, um, it's just a great way to. It's not like you're redoing the interview. That's usually the
Mhm.
question that people have. Like, well, what do we talk about? I'm like, well, you kind of hit some key points. And then as you do this, and if it's on the regular day, regular time, your audience will show up knowing, oh, I listened to the interview with Adam. She's probably going to do an interview, a live follow up on
Yeah.
Tuesday. I'm going to show up and ask questions. And that's a cool feature of your brand. All of a sudden, it's like I can listen to the
Mhm.
episode the next day. She's going live on Instagram with this guy, and I can actually ask him questions. So that
Yeah.
can, and if they missed the episode, hadn't listened to it yet, maybe that just gives them all the motivation. Like, I got to go get this episode. I got to go check this one out. So it gives you another platform to kind of help build the super fan connection, but also if they miss the episode, you can kind of market that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally, and I like the idea of doing it a few days later and inviting people to submit questions. If you got a chance to listen to Adam's
Yep.
episode, he's gonna be on live Thursday, if
Yep.
you wanna send me a question.
And the other cool thing now, have you ever gone live on Instagram?
I have a couple of times,
Okay, cool.
and it wasn't as scary as I thought. I really enjoyed it.
Good, good. So you've already broken the ice. That's what we want.
Mhm.
Now, the other cool thing about Instagram, and I'll tell you an experience that I had that was awesome, is let's say that you and I are going live together, and then somebody from the audience has a question. You can invite them to come on the screen too. You can have up to 4 people
Oh,
on the screen. All right. And the power of that is all of a sudden they're eyeball to eyeball with somebody that if they've listened to all your
yeah.
episodes and then they listened to the episode with me and they thought I had some cool things to say, like that's a special experience. So that actually
Yeah, for
happened
sure.
for me. I'm a big fan of Amy Porterfield and her Online Marketing Made Easy. I
Yeah.
listened to all of her stuff. And she was going live with a woman that was a frequent guest named Coach Glitter, who's also awesome. And she's does a lot of cool stuff on Instagram. And they're like, we're taking questions, hit the little request to join live if you want to pop up. And I hit it and I got pulled up. And I was like,
Wow.
that was the first time I ever like eyeball to eyeball got to ask her questions. And it was awesome.
That's amazing,
And it
yeah.
just took my fandom to a whole new level. So, and the other cool thing is like I go live all the time. So this doesn't apply to me, but the average Joe or Jane Instagram user doesn't go live. So what happens is if they decide I'm just going to do it, I'm going to request to go up there on the screen. If it's their first time, if they hardly ever go live, they get like a major push notification because people are like, yo, Joe never goes live. What's happening? I got to go check this
Yeah.
out. So more people come into the feed off of that as well. So if you have 4 people on the screen, that push notification is going in 4 different directions. And that's bringing a lot of new
Mhm.
people, new eyeballs in front of your brand. And so the last point I'll make on this is we have to keep in mind that this is not like a podcast. People are not listening from start to finish. We
Right.
have to keep that in mind. They're jumping in mid at any point in the conversation. So make sure if you're going to go live for 15 minutes, I want you to name drop your episode at least 3 times, at least
Okay.
every 5 minutes. Hey, we're talking to Adam from episode blah, blah, blah. Make sure you check it out. Just a little mention like that. You just have to assume that people didn't hear the very beginning. The least amount of people will be there at the very beginning. You have
Okay.
you have to keep that in mind.
Yeah.
So as you go into it, make sure that you name drop that episode, and it's, people, it's not going to be a big deal. So does that
Yeah.
make sense?
It makes a lot of sense, and my experience was the live was different in that it was just a lot of fun. We laughed a lot more on the live, and this podcast was a little more serious. I mean, we had questions we wanted to address, so
Yeah.
it was kinda cool to have
Yeah.
that different aspect.
Yeah, and it's a second exposure. You're creating content together for a second time, and this is a great opportunity if you are interviewing people that have podcasts that you would be a great guest for.
Mhm.
Like, this is a strategy that I've used in the past where I'm like, all right, I'm going to invite them on my show first. I'm going to make friends. And then if they don't invite me to be on their show at that point, I'm going to make friends even more. I'm going to get them on an Instagram live. And then if
Yeah.
I get people to do that, I at one point I was tracking, it was like 80% of the people invited me on their show.
Okay.
So that's something to keep in mind, that we don't have to sit there and ask, but you can test that out. Like, find a few podcasts that, not like the most famous podcasters in the land, but go on Apple, go on Spotify, look at some rankings and look at some people that just seem to be a bit ahead of where you are, and they're in your
Okay.
space, and invite them onto your show and make friends, get them on Instagram live. And I bet you, if you do 10 of them, I bet you'll get booked on 8 shows. It would be
Yeah.
at least half. I mean, at least 5. And that's great. And then you kind of work the ladder up. All of a sudden you're getting on these shows that are a little bit bigger than yours. You scoop up a little bit of audience. They
Mhm.
make an introduction to somebody that's been on their show that you're like, oh, could you make a warm intro? And all of a sudden you're leapfrogging up and you're making connections with bigger shows. And that's exactly what I did with my health show. And it really helped skyrocket. Like, that took my show from like 2,000 to 5,000 downloads a month to over 20,000 downloads a month in a year, just networking like that. So, yeah. So I think that, the main thing for me is looking at that 72-hour window,
Okay. Yeah.
because that, when we talk about downloads and engagement, we have to effectively market to the people that are out there that are following us.
Mhm.
And that's going to drive engagement if we are doing things like lives and these carousel posts, and you're thinking about like, what are the questions that they would have? How do I serve that? And how do I initiate that sort of engagement? Another idea that you could use on Instagram is just do a forward facing video, hold your phone, look into it, and
Mhm.
ask the question that your episode answers. So,
Oh.
so have you ever struggled with blah, 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 blah? Have you ever felt like blah, blah, blah?
Mhm.
And then put up a little poll, like the little yes, no thing. And sometimes I just put yes, and then the other answer is also yes. If it's something like, so for like today's episode, I'll be like, have you ever struggled with comparison syndrome as a podcaster? And I'll put up yes or yes, because
Yes or yes.
we all struggle with that.
Yeah.
So whoever answers, I will follow up with a voice direct message. And this is like boots
Mm.
on the ground engagement. Like, this
Mhm.
isn't screwing around trying to use bots and stuff like that. Like, when you have a small audience, take advantage of it. So that, you put up the poll, and let's say it's a yes, no answer. And whoever answers yes is the one that really needs to be listening to your episode that just went
Yeah.
live. So I'll do one of these today, and I'll say, have you ever struggled with comparison syndrome as a podcaster? Yes or no? If they say yes, I will follow up with every single one of those people, voice DM, yo, it's your buddy Adam from Podcasting Business School. I saw that you answered my poll. I appreciate that engagement. Make sure you check out today's episode. It is for you. It's going to help. I'll drop the link in the next comment, or the next message. So voice message,
Yeah, that's a great idea.
link. And then, maybe it's 10 people, maybe it's 5 people. Who cares? It's you initiating engagement and building real relationships with these
Mhm.
people. Because for you, like, you have coaching, you have consulting. This is how the game is played, and
Yeah.
you're building confidence in that relationship, and you're initiating engagement. If you want engagement, initiate engagement with your audience. And, another easy thing that you could do right away is you could go and just look at the last 10 people that followed your account on Instagram. And I want you to send them a voice message thanking them for following you.
Yeah.
And just be like, what's up? It's Angela. I won't use your buddy. It's Angela from Mission
Your
Mission
buddy
Manhood.
Angela.
It's your buddy. That's my line. This is Angela from Mission Manhood. I just want to say thank you for following my account here. I know you're newer, so let me know if you have any questions about this. Here's my top rated episode that most of my people really, really enjoy. I'll drop the link in the next message. Check it out. I'd love to get your feedback and just give them something to chew on with an episode, some content. So that's something that you could do right away.
Easily,
and
yeah.
initiate engagement. And people, again, like flip the comparison syndrome and use it to your advantage and go, all right, yeah, small audience, cool. Yeah. I can engage with so many of these people. If I've got 100 Instagram followers, I want to know all of them. I'm going to message all of them. If I've got 1,000, I'm going to message 10 of them a day until I get these people interacting with me on my stuff. Or if you've got a live coming up, you can message people like, hey, I'm doing this live. I know we've chatted back and forth and you said you were interested in X, Y, Z. Come make sure you check out my live cast that's coming up on Tuesday when I talk to so-and-so or whatever. So I just think setting some sort of a voice DM goal per day, even that you're working like three a day, just DM 3 people that are following your account and check in or little things like that. And initiating engagement, that would be a focus. So
well, I'll say about that. I did an interview with Teach 'em Chuck. And the reason I asked him to be on my podcast was because I commented on one of his posts and he sent me a voicemail back explaining it. And he was so kind with his explanation. I'm like, I want you on my podcast. So I can see how that would work.
Yeah. Well, and you just, again, reverse engineer the experiences that you've had that have been positive, where you've reached out for questions or for help with other people and what went well, who did it well, who didn't do it well, and be like, all right, how do I do this for my people and my brand? And I think, like I said, at the very jump, you are in a very normal position. I see good things happening with you. And just, again, I can't say it enough. Use the position that you're in to your advantage. It's not a disadvantage. Build relationships. You build your relationships, you build your brand, you build relationships, you build your business. I'll say it a million times. So I've given you a lot of ideas to chew on here, and I try to keep it as simple as possible, but I cannot help just spraying them out there sometimes. Yeah. And I kind of did that. So if I'm going to check in with you because we know each other. We've got each other's email addresses. I'm going to check in with you in about 24 hours. All right. So in that next 24 hours, what's one thing you can commit to me to doing out of all the ideas that I've given you? Like maybe it's, I'm going to, DM voice message 10 people that follow my account, or I'm going to create a carousel post, or I'm going to book an Instagram live. Like what's one thing you feel like you could do? Yeah. Because I don't want you to just sit on this. I want you to take some sort of action.
You know me well.
All right. That's why I do this. This is a newer thing I'm doing with this show. I'm like, all right, I'm dishing out good ideas here. What's one thing that you feel like is simple that you can kind of nudge over that first domino? So what are you thinking, Angela?
I like the idea of the personal engagement, but I just released an episode yesterday and I know I need to put some content out there. So I'm going to go for the carousel for this challenge.
All right, cool. So I want you to go on Canva and I want you to just, again, search Instagram carousel and just brand it up a little bit. Have fun. It's kind of cool. And put your images in there. Don't overthink it. And getting somewhere in the 4 to 6 image carousel. Okay. Look at all the templates. Don't jump on the first one. And you'll find one that like, oh, this seems like the lowest hanging fruit, the easiest way to convert over and get my stuff in there, my brand colors and all that. So do that. I will check in with you to see if you have any questions on that within the next 24 hours. That way I can make sure that we're nudging everything in the right direction. Cool.
Yeah, I really appreciate it.
All right. Now I want you to shout your brand out. Make sure you let us know where people can find your podcast, your website, all the things.
Yeah, so I'm on Instagram at Mission Manhood, and I'm on TikTok at Angela Abide. And if you're on TikTok, please follow me there because I can't go live yet because I don't have enough followers.
But get her on TikTok. Come on, everybody.
My podcast is available wherever podcasts are available. It's Mission Manhood Podcast, and it's for men who are desiring to embrace healthy masculinity and offer that as a gift to the world. And I want to encourage that.
Outstanding. We love it. Angela, I appreciate you coming on. If everybody that's listening in, if you want to do a podcast audit, just like my friend Angela here, get signed up on the website, podcastingbusiness.school. Jump in there. Don't podcrastinate because there is a bit of a wait to get in for one of these. I only do a few of them a week, but I would love to have you all on. So, Angela, thank you so much. And
Thank you.
to all the pod pals out there, I'm going to wish you and send you out there like I always do, wishing you health, happiness, and many downloads. We'll see you next time.